welcome to the Boiler Upload podcast. I'm Casey Bartley, and I've got an exciting guest with me. One half of the most prolific backcourt in Purdue history, Ryan Cline. Ryan, how we doing?
I'm doing great. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I say pretty much we're here. It's rivalry week. First Penn State and Shrewsbury, and then IU on the road. So a little recent topic that I'm going to ask you about first. There's two controversies with Purdue basketball right now. First one, did Painter bring Edey in to score 40 points against Michigan State? He said he did not after the game. Does that seem like a Painter move?
I don't want to speak for Paint because, I love the guy. I would never have a bad thing to say about him.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, in the moment, I thought he brought him back in because he wanted him to score 40. And in the back of my head, I was like, get out of the game.
Right.
But, it is what it is. And when he took a little spill, I think all Purdue fans' hearts kind of dropped. And we were like, oh, gosh, like, please get up. Please be okay. But, if he said he didn't. But if he would have put him in to get 40, I mean, it makes sense. But, 40 points, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, his official story after the game was he thought Izzo was taking out his big man Cooper, and so he got him out because Izzo went small like 2 or 3 times that game. Turned out didn't happen, so he brought him back in. But either way, bringing him in for 40 is great.
Yeah, and Izzo's had some questionable things to say in the media, and I get it. It's just. It's hard. Like, what are you supposed to do with a guy that's that big? And, it's so tough because he's so dominant, and you don't know how to ref him. I mean, it's just tough for refs. It's tough for opposing teams. It's tough for opposing coaches to get that game plan against them. I mean, I can't believe Izzo wasn't doubling him the entire game. I think they were at the beginning of the game, and then they kind of pushed it off. I mean, you got to double the guy. You have to double him.
It was funny. His first comment after the game was, if one player puts up, 70 in 2 games or whatever, 80, it's on the coach, not the players, which I think is what you're talking about. Like,
yeah. And, it's just so tough because we have guys on the perimeter that can make shots. I mean, obviously Fletcher's been hitting shots. Braden's obviously capable. Ethan's capable. And then obviously when Newman and Jenkins come in, who have been awesome lately.
Right.
I mean, it's so hard to game plan against a guy that's 7'4" and the most dominant player in college basketball right now.
Yeah. And especially now that he can pass, I think Izzo,
oh my gosh,
he sent a double with like 10 minutes left in the second half on back-to-back plays. And Edey found first for a layup and then Jenkins for a 3. So,
I mean, it's just it's the progression that he's made in 2 years, or since he's came in as a freshman. He's a junior now. I mean, it's kind of unbelievable. I mean, how I remember I was playing with Isaac Haas, and Isaac was a great player, but Edey looks like he's grown into his body and knows how to use his body, and is so smart when he gets in trouble, and knows when to keep the ball, above his head and not dribble it. And I mean, there's so many times too when he gets fouled that he doesn't get called. And I get what Paint went on and on about, and he doesn't normally do that. So, if he's going up, if he's in his shooting motion, if you hit him in the upper body at all, it's foul. That's just that's how it is. Like, it's the same thing when you're shooting, a pull up elbow jumper or a 3. It's the same exact thing as when you're shooting a jump hook. I mean, even if the guy skims his arm, if he skims a shooting arm, that's a foul. Like, it's how it is, and nobody cares if he's 7'4". It's a foul.
Yeah, I had that jotted down to ask because, like, you've played with some dominant big men. Even if he did get away with fouls, there's no way that more fouls aren't not being called, right? Because when someone's that big, like, all you can do is just throw elbows and your whole body against them full force.
Yeah, I mean, you see Sissoko, he's at a 45-degree angle on the guy. I mean, it's, he was doing it at Michigan State. He was doing it at Purdue. I mean, it's just, what are you supposed to do? And I feel bad for the guy. I see him look over to Izzo on the bench, and he throws up his hands like, dude, what the hell am I supposed to do? I'm like, I hear you, dude. I don't know what you're supposed to do either. Like, it's just so tough for opposing players. And man, it's fun to have him on our team. That's for sure.
Yeah. As someone that played with Dominic Biggs inside, how nice is it to have that on, like, you know, that you have that down there going to draw all that attention?
Yeah. I mean, it's great. I remember, offensively, obviously it's great because, you know, if you're a shooter on the perimeter, I mean, you got to be ready for the ball to hopefully just be rotated to you. And if it's not, someone else is going to get an open look. And people don't talk enough about him on defense too. I remember when I was playing with AJ Hammonds, I mean, when I would get beat, which would be a lot, I wasn't a great defender, but I wasn't great on ball, but I was pretty good off the ball.
Right.
But man, on ball defender, I wasn't the quickest, you know, but I found other ways to get on the court. But if someone got past me, I mean, I knew that AJ Hammonds was there to either block the shot or challenge it and make it tough. I mean, Edie's doing the same thing. I mean, I think he's averaging maybe a little over 2 blocks a game.
Yeah,
a
little
little
like
over 2
2.4
blocks a game. And, you know, it's just people don't talk enough about him on defense, obviously, in ball screen action and, you know, him getting switched on some guys. I remember they were having trouble at Michigan State with that. I mean, Walker has had great games against us. He's had career games against Purdue. You know, that's just how it goes sometimes. But I mean, if you bring in the paint, it doesn't matter if he blocks it; he's going to affect the shot.
Right.
And his awareness and his awareness defensively has been so impressive. And like I said, the growth overall is just, I mean, it's incredible. It really is.
Yeah, they're starting to come out with a bunch of advanced metrics on defense showing Edie's, you know, ability to affect the court on that. And part of being a dominant big is it's not even the 2.4 blocks, it's the 5 to 10 times a game where the guard doesn't even think about going inside.
Exactly.
Because you know he's there.
No, absolutely no question. It's been so fun to watch Zach, and I know he deserves everything that he's getting. And I know I don't know him very well. I've gotten to sit next to his mom in a couple games, and we have a great time talking. But I mean, he's worked his ass off to get where he is right now, and you know, he seems like a guy who kind of keeps his head down and, you know, doesn't look at all the accolades. But man, I hope they're coming because he deserves it. He really does.
Yeah, it's been an incredible transition from freshman year overachieving to still overachieving in this junior year. Let's move on a little bit to what Purdue has coming up Saturday, going to Assembly Hall. What is that now in your career? I believe you were 5-1 against IU. You lost.
I know I lost once. I'm not sure how many times you played them, but we lost once my freshman year when at IU when they ended up winning the Big Ten. I think we only played them once that year, which makes no sense. It should be a home and home every year. But
yeah, I was looking at it. You had 2 years where I think you only played them once, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, but it is what it is.
You didn't have anything fall on you. Those extra 2 games might have been hazardous. So
yeah, it's true.
Just what is that environment like, and how is it different than, you know, there's a lot of really good arenas in the Big Ten, but obviously IU is the rivalry.
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome, and don't get me wrong, you know, we got Penn State coming in, we gotta take care of business there first. I mean, obviously, I think Micah Shrewsbury's done an awesome job. I didn't get to have him as a coach, but my guy Grady Eifert's over there. He's their video coordinator, and I know he's really enjoying it over there. But I think Penn State's got a really good team, and I'm excited for that game. I think they're gonna make it tough on us. But
yeah, Pickett's been excellent.
Pickett is an awesome player. I mean, he can score in a variety of ways. He knows how to use his body. He's kind of like an old school guy, and I mean, you got to appreciate that in the new era of, you know, all these guys just playing one-on-one and, you know, getting pull-up jumpers. I mean, he's backing guys down and he's making things happen for his team. I mean, some of his stat lines have been ridiculous in my opinion. I mean, just crazy. But I mean, going back to IU, it's just it's a different game. It totally is. I mean, the rivalry is so special, and you know, me growing up here in Indiana. I mean, it's all anybody talks about. I mean, I've been at work, and you know, that's all we've been talking about all week, and it's just so it's going to be so special. I think this probably has to be the most anticipated IU Purdue matchup in, I don't know, since I've been born, probably. I mean,
Oh, wow.
in 20 years, I mean, they're 21st, I think, that came out yesterday, and we're still number one. So
Right.
it's going to be so much fun. I know Assembly's going to be rocking. It's going to be a special environment there.
If you could describe that crowd in one word. I've got my word. I've been to 3 games down there now. But
so there's only one time I won't say what I was called by a 75-year-old man when I was warming up. But let's just say it wasn't the nicest thing. And like, I never acknowledge guys. I'll never forget this. I never acknowledge people in warm-ups. People are screaming at you, and they're trying to get you to not be focused, I guess. And he said something to me, and I turned around and I was just like, dude, what is wrong with you? And he would just stopped in his tracks, didn't know what to say. Couldn't believe I turned around and acknowledged him. I'm like, dude, well, you just called me something I've never been called in my life, and you're like 75 years old. I'm like, dude, what is it?
Oh,
but they're passionate. They love they love their school, and they live and breathe Indiana basketball. I mean, it's the staple. I mean, this is the Hoosier State, and it is what it is, and their students are always coming and bringing awesome energy. The place is right on top of you. I mean, the stands. I've walked around the stadium a little bit, and there's some not so great seats there, but there are some awesome ones, and as opposed to Mackey, where I don't think there's a bad seat anywhere.
No, definitely not.
I mean, Assembly Hall, if I had to describe their fans in one word, it would be aggressive, probably.
That's a good word.
Just
angry was
just
mine.
Overall aggressive, but I mean, they're trying to throw you off your game, and that's what fans might. I wouldn't say to a certain extent of what I was called that one time, but I was just like, they're passionate about their guys, and they want their team to win at the end of the day, and there's nothing wrong with that.
So you went in there obviously as a freshman guard. Purdue has 2 freshman guards this year. How do you handle that environment for the first time?
Well, it's nice because I think they've already been tested, and it's nice that we get to play IU towards the end of the year, or at least the end of the Big Ten season. Right. Those guys are tested. Those guys, I mean, they got confidence. They're poised. They know how to handle the pressure, I think, already, and it's not seen very often in college basketball. When you have a freshman backcourt, and they come in and they seem as experienced as they are, and it's a testament to how hard they've been working, and what Paint has instilled in them, and how they've kind of came into the program. And I know that all these guys have just really listened to what Paint has to say, because he's the best in the country. And if you listen to what Coach Painter has to say, you're going to have an awesome chance to win. And I think that these guys at a young age know that. And, that doesn't come around very often. And that's something that, we hopefully can have for, the next 3 years. I mean, this year's not over, but, these guys are special, and they're fun to watch. And they're Indiana boys. And it's just, it's a lot of fun to watch these 2 guys come in and do as well as they are at such a young age. I mean, it's almost like Edie. I mean, it's just overly impressive to watch them every game, and we're very lucky to be able to watch these 2.
Yeah, it's been. I mean, obviously, you don't go to 21-1 by accident. That kind of touches on something I wanted to ask you about, because this team, there's a lot of talent on the bench as well. You spent 3 years of your career, despite being one of the best scorers, shooters, offensive players in the conference, pretty much from day one. I would argue that in the last 10 to 20 years, there's probably not a better player that had to sacrifice minutes more than you under Painter. And this team has a couple guys like that on the bench. How do you make peace with that? Is that buy-in from the top to the bottom? Is it everyone's saying we know like you can be out there when needed. Just how difficult or, how do you make that work?
Yeah, I mean, I'll gut down the line. I'll start with Gillis. I mean, Gillis,
Yeah.
he started for the last however many couple years,
Mhm.
and and this is the same for every guy I think that comes off the bench. Is they've bought into what Painter's telling them. I mean, they bring energy off the bench. I mean, Gillis was a starter. He's coming off the bench. He's hitting shots, playing great defense.
Right.
I mean, that guy will dive for a loose ball if it's outside the stadium. It doesn't matter wherever the ball is. That guy's
Right.
going to be around it and he's going to try to get it. Obviously, Trey Kaufman has been awesome. He had a great game against Michigan.
Yep.
I don't think he has a lot of fear, and I think he's just going to continue to get better and better. Newman defensively has been so
Right.
impressive. He comes off the bench and always provides a spark. He can hit shots when needed, and he could have taken the easy way out and transferred, and he decided to stay here, and he is now part of the best opening record that Purdue has ever had. I mean, you can't take that away from the guy.
Right.
It's special to the fact that, and it's a testament to him and who he is as a person to stay and be resilient and really figure out his role. And he's helped us win games just like every other guy on the bench. Jenkins comes off the bench. I love that guy. He is,
I know, yeah.
he is, without him at the Ohio State game, we don't win.
No, not at all.
Without him at the Ohio State game, we do not win the game.
Yeah.
He comes off the bench, hits, I think 3 threes.
Yes.
And we were ice cold at the beginning of the game. I mean, we couldn't throw a football in the ocean if we were staying on the beach. I mean, it was tough because we were getting open looks. Jenkins comes off the bench, hits a couple. It changes the entirety of the game. And just being able to play, being able to play 9 guys is such a luxury. I mean, it's just been so fun to watch from top to bottom. I remember my dad called me on during the Michigan State game at halftime.
Mm-hmm.
He calls me and he says, "How much fun would it be to play on this team?" And I said,
Right.
"Dude, I totally agree, because those guys, they don't care who gets the glory. They don't care who scores the most points. I mean, look at Braden Smith last game.
Right.
Braden Smith against Michigan State didn't have an awesome stat line, didn't score a bunch of points. I don't think he cares. All he cares about is the W in the win column, and I think he was the happiest for. I mean, I couldn't even imagine. I couldn't be at the game, unfortunately, but
yeah, again.
Jenkins hitting that 3 at halftime. I bet the roof was blown off that place. Oh my gosh!
That shot set the record for Mackey.
I saw that.
123.8 or something insane.
I mean, just unbelievable. And just every guy that comes off the bench. I mean, obviously I had to come off the bench for 3 years. I think there was a little stint my junior year, maybe. No, it was my sophomore year, I think. But I started for a couple games, and then I went back to coming off the bench. I mean, you got to know your role, and when you come in, you got to be ready to play. You can't come in, slow, and you can't just take your first shot. You got to get in the flow of the game, and that's one thing Payne always preached to the guys coming off the bench, is that don't just take the first shot that you see. Let the game come to you, and I think that's what these guys do, and they have just been incredible off the bench, and they've provided a spark for us all year.
Yeah, it's been hard to articulate. Just the word you used is right, fun, and there's like a joy to the way they play basketball, and that comes out when you're watching. So fun. Defensively, how is this team so good? Because I think individually, if you go from top to bottom, you don't think elite defense. Purdue has had more talented teams defensively that didn't perform this well.
I mean, I was watching the Michigan State game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, every shot that they made in the first 10 minutes was a tough shot. Like they had a hand in their face. I mean, it's so impressive how, again, these young guys come in and they know their rotations. They know if they're getting in a scramble, who's taking who. And that's just, again, a testament to Paint and what he teaches these guys. I mean, as long as you listen to what he has to say and you do your job on the court, defensively, offensively, and you don't turn the ball over, I mean, it's so impressive to watch these guys and their rotations. I mean, Ethan Morton's been awesome defensively, on ball defending, especially. Braden Smith has as well. I mean, it's fun to watch these guys work in unison because they all seem connected out there in some way, and they're all helping each other out. No matter, if someone happens to get beat or, they get caught on a switch and, it's a point against first at the 4, or, they think they have a mismatch. They're shrinking, everybody's helping. And it's impressive to watch such a still young group be as connected defensively as they are.
Yeah. And you combine that with by far the most dominating force in college basketball. It's a recipe for success.
No question.
When you're talking about Purdue, kind of the elephant in the room is always March. How do you see this team stacked up with some previous ones? Obviously last year it was St. Peter's that was an issue. I mean, you were obviously involved in, that incredible Elite Eight game where so many different little things could have easily been the thing that, broke you guys through. Looking back, or I guess looking forward, do you see this connectiveness, this defense, this fun? Is that something that translates into March success? Because you guys were a strange thing in 2019. It kind of seemed like you guys were playing your worst basketball towards the end of the year, and then flipped it on in March, where you had, a couple incredible performances. You and Carson went supersonic for 4 straight games.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you obviously want to be playing your best ball in any sport towards, the playoffs or whatever you're doing. I mean, you want to be playing your best ball towards the end of the year. And, it always kind of depends on who you're matched up with, what the other team's going to bring, as opposed to, you're just playing these Big Ten teams over and over again. There are teams that like to play faster pace. There are teams that like to slow down, like Wisconsin. But it all depends on what you're doing. You should never let the other team dictate the pace of the game. We should always play at our pace. We should never be rushed. We need to run the sets that Paint is drawn up, or whoever's on the bench drawing it up. And if your opportunities are there, take them. And obviously in March, things get a little ramped up, and people used to ask me, like, what's going through your head? Nothing's going through my head. Like, it's all instinctual. You're just out there and you're playing. It's almost like you black out. Like you're letting your instincts take over. You're letting the game plan that you set in, you go through these walkthroughs for a reason. You don't know their plays, like you don't know like exactly what they are, like they're calling it out, like you're not sure, but like once your guy makes a movement from the block to the corner to coming off a down screen, like you should know what's coming, or you should at least have an idea of what's coming. And I think these guys are all just bought into all the time that the coaches are taking in order to prepare them. And, it's showing off. I mean, what'd you say? 20-1,
21-1 now, I believe.
21. I mean, that's ridiculous. Yes. That is unbelievable. And that's because these guys have all bought in to what Coach Matt Painter is having them do. And I mean, obviously, we have the most dominant force in college basketball.
Right.
I don't even think it's close, in my opinion.
And that makes this team different, right? Than new teams in the past, and just teams generally across this nation, like right now.
Yeah. I mean, if Zach Edey has the ball in the post one-on-one, he's scoring 75% of the time. It's almost no question. I mean, and if he's not scoring, he's getting fouled. I mean, it's just, it is what it is. And, all this camaraderie and, kind of just how connected that these guys seem at such a young age. I mean, it's special, and it'll hopefully show in March. And I mean, we're 21-1. Just enjoy the ride. Just enjoy what we got going right now. Who cares about March is for another month and a half, 2 months. Like, just enjoy where we are at right now. We are 21-1. We're the number one team in the country, rightfully so. And we just need to enjoy the ride and enjoy watching these guys play, because they are as special as it gets in college basketball right now.
I could not have said any of that better. Absolutely. So just circle back around real quick to Purdue and IU. What is a favorite memory you have of the rivalry? I'm assuming it's not the old guy calling you whatever he did.
Yeah, no, it's a good story though.
It is a good story. Absolutely.
I'll tell you when the camera's not on, but it was pretty wild.
Okay.
But I'd have to say, I mean, it's biased, but I have to say my favorite memory is, I think there was like a minute and a half or 2 minutes left, and we're down 4, and I'm coming off a down screen, and my absolute favorite was when I was coming off a down screen and I was going left, right. And when I was catching the ball with left, right, and I could have a little have kind of like a slight fade with my weird shot that somehow went in. It hit the front of the rim and it rolled in. That has never happened for me before. I don't know if I can think of another shot that had hit the rim, that hit a three that hit the rim and went in. Now that one came at the perfect time.
And you hit a lot of threes, so
that's a little biased. I think that would be up there. I came off down screen, hit the front of the rim and went in. I think we were down 1 at that point. Matt Harms tips it in. We win the game at IU.
Oh yeah,
it was a special moment. I think my number one would be us beating IU on our home floor senior night to win the Big Ten. I mean, it doesn't get more special than that. Yeah. And, we got to celebrate with all our guys. We still have the picture up in Mackey. I get to take my buddies out there. I get to take, whoever I'm taking out there, and they just think it's cool. And obviously, I think it's awesome too. And that's something that I get to keep with me, and I get to, talk about forever. And it's special. I don't know if that'll ever be done again. We'll beat IU on our home floor to win the Big Ten. I mean, it doesn't get more special than that.
Yeah, I'm not sure when they play them this year. Let's see.
It's not senior night. I know that for sure.
Yeah.
I think we play
3 games
at home. Yeah. I think we play Illinois at home our senior night.
Yep, that would be Sunday the 5th, last game. So IU is the second to last game of the season.
Second to last. Yep.
At this rate, Purdue might already have it wrapped up. So that game.
Wait, I'm a big believer in the jinx. So watch it.
Okay. No, they're probably going to lose everything.
Yeah, there you go. I like that. There you
go. Just touch on, because that sounds like the first goal whenever you talk to Painter early in the season, mid-season, it's winning the Big Ten title. So that I think for players means even more than fans and everything else. Is that definitely the focus throughout the season?
Oh yeah, no question. And that's why, people have been talking like, oh, it's so excited for it. Yeah, I'm super excited for that.
Right.
Obviously, we play Penn State on Wednesday. That's all that matters. The next game is all that matters. The fans are, looking ahead, and, they don't like, it's not a knock. I'm not trying to knock on anybody and on any of our fans, but, everyone's already looking ahead towards IU. Our guys are completely 100% focused on Penn State. And I know that's what Paint is instilling in all these guys. And, I'm sure everybody, all the media is, asking about that game. And I almost guarantee every guy is saying, we're not worried about the game. We're worried about Penn State on Wednesday.
Right.
And, it's going to be so much fun. Don't get me wrong. At IU, I'm hoping I can go somehow.
Okay.
I will be there no matter what. Repping the black and gold, talking crap to everybody.
Have you seen a game there from the stands?
Oh yeah. I was there last year, which was rough. It's so much fun because I have like all my best buddies from high school went to IU.
Right.
So like we always have banter back and forth, the week of, and I got one buddy especially that just will never have anything good to say about Purdue. And like no matter like how we're doing, I'm like, hey, like do you see that number next to our name? I think that's number 1, right, dude? And he's like, oh, they're not any good. I'm like, dude, you're the absolute worst. They love their school and their team just like we do. So it's going to be such a battle, and I could not be more excited to watch that game, hopefully from the stands. That'd be awesome.
I think that is a good way to wrap it up. Obviously Penn State tomorrow at Mackey, and then IU on Saturday. Women on Sunday as well. I don't know how much women's basketball you've been able to catch this year, but Katie Jones.
Yeah, I saw they beat Ohio State. That was awesome.
Shocking. That was their first win against a number 2 team on the road.
I mean, was it like they were unranked and they beat a top 5 team? I think
I think it was. I think specifically it was the first time they've ever beaten a number 2 team on the road. Which I guess how many chances do you really get? Like it might have been like 2 games ever, but
I know Coach Gerald's is doing awesome stuff. With that women's program, and it's nice to have somebody that has played too. So right. I know they're on the up and up as well. So I'm excited to follow them.
Absolutely. It is going to be a very fun weekend of Purdue sports, hopefully. For Ryan Cline, I'm Casey Bartley. Thank you again, Ryan, for coming on. Appreciate it. Anything else you want to say to anyone?
No, sir.
75-year-old man.
Thanks for having me, fans. Just enjoy the ride. It's so much fun. These guys are so special, and the one thing I will say to them is when they put the press on at Mackey, when there's 24 seconds left, don't scream. The guys are already trying to get it over half court. That's the one thing. I was at the game against Maryland, and they put on a press, and I was like, why is everyone screaming? Like they're trying to get it over. It's okay.
Right.
Everyone just they're trying their best. But no, our fans are the best. We've sold out, I don't know, 30 some home games, 40 some home games in a row. I mean, it's so special, and we got a special group with the most special player in college basketball right now, with the best college basketball coach heading the whole thing. So just enjoy the ride and enjoy every game, because this is as good as it gets, no question.
All right, thank you very much, Ryan.
Yeah, you got it, man.